So we arrived the week before my friend's wedding so we could catch up with friends and have a bit of time and relaxation down in Christchurch. Our first destination was the C1 Cafe for lunch. My friend Amy was dressed up for a party, so I was able to get these nice shots on 30-year-old Kodak VPL film. This film is probably older than Amy and probably even older than myself. These photos may in fact be the best photos that I've got of my friend that I've ever taken in the last 10 years. I also got this shot of Ching that was taken on the new Lomo 92, which I've been waiting to try ever since it was announced a few months ago. The next day, we headed to the market, where I was hoping I could run into the old guy who has a bunch of old camera gear, who occasionally has something that I have to buy. This time, there wasn't anything for me. But that's okay, as I got to shoot around a different market for once this time. This red building has caught my eye before. I've taken photos of it, and this desaturated stock unfortunately didn't meet the vision that I was looking for, so I will have to try again in the future. I managed to get this shot of Ching that I really like. However, the desaturated look actually works here, unlike the photo of just the building. This stock rolls off the shadows quite quickly, which doesn't make it very good for dealing with contrasty scenes, as was the case during the middle of the day when we were out and about. I was trying to get cute photos of Ching with the garden, but I'm not sure the desaturated stock is really the right one for this look. Though I do like the desaturated look with this one of the boats, as it has a very old-timey look to it, even if it was shot in the year 2023. We then continued our walk through the Botanic Gardens towards the greenhouse that I had searched for ages last time I was here, hoping that spring was well underway and it would be blooming inside with lots of flowers. I happened upon this photo by chance. This guy on the left is the only person in the shot, and the contrast between them and the trees really shows how large the trees really are. Though I do wish I had taken it on a strong contrasty black and white film like HP5 instead. I did get these cool photos of Ching, but I do wish they'd come out a little brighter and that there was more flowers in the photo. I did not mean to shoot 2 shots of this part of the greenhouse, but because I thought I'd miscounted on the last shot of the Kodak VBL, I wanted to make sure I got this photo. So I took the first shot of this exact same scene on the Fuji Realer 100. I did not mean to create a comparison, but you can see that the Fuji Realer has a bit of a glow haze to it that I think just works a little bit better in this scenario. I tried to shoot macro with the twin lens, which is hard. Even if the bellows let you do macro, it's extremely difficult due to the parallax error between the 2 lenses when you're so close up. You have to figure out the shot and space and then move the bottom of the lens to where the top of the lens was to make sure that you got the shot. I think for my first time doing this, it's not a bad attempt, but as you will see later in the video, I don't think I need to do this anymore with this camera to get this kind of photography. I quite like this photo just due to it being a little bit different and a bit more creative. One thing I've noticed since leaving the city is how beautiful spring is here, with there being so many blossoms. I wish I had a different lens on this camera just so that I could get tighter shots. I'm not unhappy with my execution of the shot, I just think a different lens could have made it better. I feel like Ching is slightly too small in the image. I think out of all the photos on this roll of Realer 100, this one most looks like an album cover. Last April I tried to take a photo of here with a damaged roll and it didn't come out well. And unfortunately this was the wrong film stock, so I will have to try again next year. Ching quite likes this one and it's got a glow to it, but I think it would have been a better shot in black and white. Who knows, maybe I attempt this again in black and white next year. We then walked around the city trying to get some good shots whilst the sun was still out and it was a rather still beautiful day, if not a little windy. So yeah, those good shots. This film stock sucks at handling shadows. I wish I'd mated for the shadows with this one, just so that I could have balanced it out a little bit better. But overall I do like the idea of the photo, and I would like to attempt it again. We didn't do much Monday other than work, but it was still a good day. However, Tuesday was a much better day. The weather was sunny, so I decided to go out and get some shots on the half-used roll of HP5 that I had left over from my Agfa video. When looking at these photos, I realised this film's stock works well for night city life, as bright objects really pop through and you still get a reasonable amount of detail in the shadows. Shooting this now has made me realise that I may want to take it on future travel videos, especially in large cities. On Wednesday, we met up with my friend James and got some Korean barbecue, where again I got these shots on the HP5. We then went to this place that would look amazing with 800T. But I didn't have any on me, so I will come back here in the future to take some photos. So I ended up running out of 35mm film and decided to go to the camera store. I've bought a 300mm Minolta lens off them in the past. This time, I ended up buying a 500mm lens with a 2x adapter, which I've used a few times since this trip, and it was an amazing purchase. Ching and I then ended up going out shopping, getting ready for the wedding on the weekend. We then went out for dinner, where I surprised her with a birthday gift and a surprise video, which I will link down below. I am also very surprised that the surprise video for Ching took off and became one of my most viewed videos, so I'm very thankful to everyone that went ahead and clicked on that. The next day, we linked up with my friend Hemi, where we tested out the new 500mm lens on his video gear. It was a bit of a cloudy day, so it did make photography a little bit difficult, but it did make it easier to shoot video. When I was at the camera store earlier, I also ended up getting some expired Fuji Superior 200, which aged incredibly well, considering I don't believe it was fridged. In fact, whilst I shot this roll at both 50 and 100 ISO, I could have probably kept it at box speed. We then went around and took photos of a bunch of random things that caught our eye. I had also bought some Fuji Acros 100, which I had put in my C220, and I really wanted to try out as I had several rolls at home. I really gotta say, Acros 100 might be my favourite black and white film stock. There is so much detail in this film. You can easily recover the shadows if needed, and the resolution and amount of detail without being too coarse is really incredible. Whilst not perfect, as it was a little too dark due to the clouds, and I could only shoot so quickly, these photos proved that the 500mm lens was a good one to buy, and I could get shots on it that would be next to impossible on my other lenses. I shot these two photos of Ching on the 500mm at a slow shutter speed that was a little too slow, as it's hard to keep the camera still with such a big heavy lens. I'm finally starting to get the enjoyment out of the 6x6 that I initially wanted. Now, on the day of the wedding, there was a strong wind warning declared, but it was also voting day. So we went out to vote, but the blossoms caught our eye. When their petals begin to fall, it is akin to snow, and the whitish pink leaves against the bright green spring grass is a look unlike no other. We then went to my old school and voted. It was cool showing Ching where I grew up. Then we went into town and got to the wedding venue at a nice time. It was really enjoyable to watch my friend get married, and it definitely was a highlight of the trip. It was great seeing so many people I had not seen in a long time and being able to catch up with them. As with our adult lives, we often don't get to see each other as much as we would like to. I ended up using the last of my 3D photos from my Rito 3D camera, which I also used the last time I was down here in Christchurch, but I had not completed the roll until this second trip. Sunday was a really relaxed affair. We hanged out with Amy as our time earlier with her was short, and also caught up with Nick, who you may remember from my Canon F1 video, this time without his work clothes. where I was able to get this really nice portrait of him on the C220. We then headed off back to Wellington after our best ever trip down to Christchurch. When we got back, I took Ching to her favourite Marlatong place. Anyways, to finish off this video, here are some of the 3D photos from our April Christchurch trip earlier this year. Till next time, it's been real, guys.